Right, take two. Right, guys, welcome to another TRB success interview. Today I'm joined by Campbell, who's just completed the 90-day back and control blueprint. He's got some pretty impressive results. He's going to share his journey, where he was at the start, why what we've done together works so well, and then the results he got, and then hopefully inspire any other guys who are in a similar position to he was many weeks ago, which was roughly about 14, 15 weeks ago. Finished the program a few weeks ago now. So, Campbell, if you just want to give a quick intro about you, what you do in business, and where you were at the start, and then we'll go from there.
Okay. My name's Campbell. I'm a glorified salesman. So the sales manager for a home improvements company in Glasgow. I was brought in there to grow the one side of the business. Actually, throughout the program, we'll come to that, I guess, maybe later. But throughout the program, I decided that it wasn't the best place for me, and I moved on to something that was better for me. So
Massive change,
recently
yeah.
just done that, same industry, same type of thing, but different company, different atmosphere. About probably 15, 16 weeks ago, I thought to myself that there was something not right in life and it needed to change. And I have been working on myself personally for probably almost a year now. Around about last August, I started going back to see therapists that I'd used in the past for stuff because I was really struggling with things at work under a lot of stress and stuff. And I also got diagnosed pre-diabetic towards the end of last year, and really because of where my headspace was at, it just didn't sink in, and I just ignored it completely. And then I just got to a point where I was suddenly realizing that nothing fits, and I felt terrible, and I wasn't fit. My dogs weren't getting walked. I used to walk them twice a day, every day, and yeah, I was just stuck in a massive rut. So I think we'd actually spoke on LinkedIn way before we actually started.
Yeah, I actually looked at
Um,
the conversations. I think it was about a year prior.
aye,
So,
exactly, yeah.
well, that's
That's
when
it
you
took
said
me a
you
year to
start.
get my head out of my ass.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so then, yeah, we started and set myself goals of not so much, and weight loss is a big thing, but I've never been huge on body confidence. That it was a problem, it was a thing. My biggest issue with being fat is that I can't get any clothes to fit.
Mm,
But the the main thing was that I wanted to reverse the health problems that I was having, and I wanted to get back to being able to play sport because I'd hate exercising, which is weird because I used to be a PT.
mm.
So, but I hate exercising and I hate running. I hate going out long, laborious runs. Find it absolutely tedious. Even gym sessions, I need to really be in the mood.
Mm,
Whereas I used to teach classes, so I used to enjoy taking classes, doing spin, stuff like that.
mm.
And I love sport, love playing football, love playing badminton, pretty much most racket sports actually. I'll be quite happy to play. So the plan was to be able to get back to doing that, and yeah, in the end we got there.
Just to refer back to where we were at the start, one thing that stood out to me, and I hear a lot of the time, is I think one of your family members mentioned that you there's just something missing in you. You'd lost your spark, kind of thing. You weren't like the Campbell you used to be. You remember seeing that?
Yeah, it was mentioned a few times actually. Yeah,
Was it?
um, my auntie came up to the house with my mum. Can't remember what for, but she was when they left. She'd said to my mum, "Campbell, all right?" And I was like, "Aye, what do you mean?" She's like, "Just doesn't seem like Campbell.
Mm,
Just seems like a diluted version. Just no got his spark."
mm.
Uh, Mum went, "Aye, he's a wee bit stressed in that, but he's all right." And then I played golf with my, how do I explain this, ex father-in-law. So we still keep in touch and stuff, and played golf with him, and he was it wasn't until like about a week and a half later or something like that. He texted me and he was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I'm fine. How are you?" And he was like, "Just see when we played golf the other week. You just wanted yourself,
Mm.
worried about you." So that's obviously been playing in his head for about a week and a half before he decided to message me and say, "Are you all right?"
God.
Um, And then once I'd mentioned that to a couple of people, they're like, you know yourself, you're not quite right. And people that I go to the football with every week, they were kind of like, you know yourself and stuff like that. Whereas I would say that is now almost completely reversed.
Mm.
Tammy says there's a massive difference as well. Like there's a different
That's his missus, by
person.
the way.
Yeah,
Tammy.
nah. She says there's a different person back in the room, and but people with football and that are saying, "Oh, new positive Campbell's better," and yeah, just feel a bit better in general in myself.
That was the goal that we aimed for. Just touch upon, obviously, you've had expertise in this field anyway. I used to be a PT,
Yeah,
and I hear it in consultations all the time, Chris, where, I know what I need to do. But yet they stay there for years, sometimes even a decade before actually doing anything about it. So,
yeah.
despite knowing what to do, so you had the expertise, why do you think you weren't able to do it alone?
I needed accountability was the main thing.
Yeah, big part for
I
most
need
guys, isn't it? Yeah.
I needed accountability. I needed someone to report to, a bit like with work and things like that. I guess you don't want to sit in front of them. I think that was one of my things where I was always good at sales. I didn't want to sit in a sales meeting and not be the best person in the room.
Mm.
Same with football when I was a kid and anything like that. I didn't want to sit in a room and not be, the top.
Mm.
Um, so it's the same with this. You don't want to come to the meeting and say, no, I've not done that. 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 You want to say, yes, I've achieved that. Yes, I've achieved that. Yes, I've achieved that.
Mm.
So I think that was a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I think for the first 4 or 5 weeks, I wasn't doing it properly. I don't think I was committed to it properly the first 4 or 5 weeks. It
Mm.
wasn't until about week 6, I think, that or week 5 or week 6, that it really sunk in, and I started seeing everything that we were doing and why we were doing it, and I really then
Went all in. Yeah.
went all in. I wasn't all in the beginning. I was playing at it a little bit.
I think that was probably because how bad of a state of mind you were actually in at the start as well. Like
Possibly, yeah.
reflection, if you think about where you were. Um, but yeah, so that's why accountability is so important. You might know it all, but you need somebody to hold you accountable during those challenging periods to really push through and see the results that you wanted. So why do you think what we've done together works so well? Got you the results? Because like be honest, you're a fussy eater.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Than most people that I've coached. I remember saying to them, "This is oh shit, I've got a challenge with this one."
He sent me all those like what are they called, the recipe books and stuff and ideas, and I went through it with the missus and I was like, nope, nope, nope,
Well, that was
nope,
useless.
nope. I was like, we might be able to eat that. She's fussy as well, which doesn't really help, but
Yeah.
she's probably, actually I think we're both as bad as each other, but she probably eats more stuff than I'm willing to eat. But yeah, I was just like, no, can't have that, can't have that, can't have that, can't have that.
Hmm.
But I think what helps is that we get on. Like
Oh yeah, that was massive from the start, wasn't it? Yeah.
we've got a good chemistry, and there's a lot of similarities between us.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that helped. I also think that I picked up some new stuff that I didn't already know. Um, and I just the way it was laid out and the way it was set up, the thing that was new to me and which I thought really helped, because I've tried creating habits in the past, really tried creating habits in the past and failed at it massively,
Hmm.
because I think I was trying to change too much at once. Whereas with this program, you're changing, it's a step a week,
Hmm.
and you're compounding habits on a scale kind of thing,
Hmm.
and you're adding on to them all the time. And I think that helped make it really easy.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I didn't stop my therapy either, so I think that kind of helped a little bit.
Yeah.
But I did find myself meeting with my therapist on a Friday and telling her about all the stuff that I did on my call on a Wednesday, or how my week had went and stuff like that. And I was ending up talking about it, with her as well, and she's seen a change, and she's already seen a massive change because she said at the time you've already made a massive change in the past 6 months,
Mm.
and then now when I see her, she's like you're a million miles away from where you were last year. So
Wow.
there is a big change in that, and I think all that helped. And I've got her. She's a hypnotherapist, so I've got her to do stuff that help me push forward with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of just mindset and the eating stuff and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because she does. I went to her originally years ago because I wanted to try and get help to eat more foods.
Yeah,
And
like we don't have to go completely into it, but for anyone watching, Campbell is very fussy, like
yeah,
as fussy as you can be.
So she helped with that, and she helped with the second time round a little bit as well. So that was good. And water. I mean, what a
Yeah,
massive change that is.
it's so basic, but not many men are doing it because it's so basic. You don't see the value in it, do you? But,
Nah,
energy.
I used to have like 6, 7 cans of fizzy juice a day, and now I have one, and I struggle to finish it.
Mm.
And even now, I'm starting to not have that one.
Mm.
Massive cheat sometimes, but I cheated last night, but I had water
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to having juice with it. And I was like, that's a weird change. What do you want to drink, sir? Can I have water, please? Folk at home are like, what's wrong with
It's happening to him.
him?
So the key there, just to summarize, at the start, most men are like, it's just a mountain I can't climb. Were you like the heaviest you'd been, Campbell, or not? At the start,
Yes,
roughly.
I was at the heaviest
How
I've
the
been.
fuck am I going to lose all this weight? So the key, what we do at the TRB is, as he said, we stack habits so it feels somewhat easy versus having to go all in from the off, too overwhelming. Of course, you've got the busy family life, you've got your busy business as well. So it's going all in from the off. It's not really sustainable. So that's why we do it the opposite way around. So if you just want to touch upon actual results, so weight loss, what was the number again?
Weight loss up until today, which I think would be 15 weeks in total. I'm not sure. I need to double check that. Either 14 or 15, but up to today, it's been 11, no, 12 kilos.
12 kilos.
12 kilos.
Nice.
Which is like what, 25, no, 12 times 2.2, 26 pounds.
26 pounds.
So
Not
it's 2
bad.
stone in it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not 2 stone. Nearly 2 stone.
Nearly
Um,
2 pounds off.
and I was disappointed with that because the goal was to do higher, and I think that's because the first 5 weeks I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So really, all that weight loss, and we'll be able to see it from the chart, has became mostly in the last 6 weeks.
Really accelerated towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one thing. The other thing was one of my goals was just to feel better and be better, and I do feel better, and I am better. I make better choices. I'm more disciplined. I don't press the fuck it button every other day.
Mm.
And the other goal was to start playing more sport and get more exercise. And I'm not saying I'm now playing golf once or twice a week. The golf was a huge thing in the beginning for me because that was something that you can go and do pretty much no matter what your fitness. You somehow find a way through it,
Mm-hmm.
and it really helped with my steps, goals, and stuff like that.
Mm.
2 games of golf a week, and that for that latter 6 weeks, and I was really pushing myself, was huge because they're 16,000 step days. Trying to hit a target of 9,000 steps when you're in an office all day is just almost impossible. I didn't have enough time in a day, but those 2 games of golf really helped. And
Yeah.
then but started playing badminton again, and just latterly managed to get back to football on a Monday night. So next goal is to actually go back into playing some sort of competitive football in maybe like under 35s league or something.
If anyone can relate, like if you come back from a sporting background such as me and Campbell, football used to be a massive part of my identity. And when I had to give that up when I went self-employed, it was like I died inside, in all honesty. So getting back in touch with that is massive, isn't it? Right.
Mhm.
That escape. You just feel free when
Yeah.
you're playing sport, don't you? It's amazing.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and then there's
It's a
2
complete and
points.
utter switch off for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
It is
Versus
totally.
previously took it into more food than you should have been. Booze was a
Yeah.
thing as well on a weekend, right? So that's what I wanted to cover, the 2 points top of my head as I'm thinking. A big difference was when you just, because you're a massive Rangers fan, right?
Yes.
And you were having a heavy session is it typically a Sunday or Saturday when you go to the
It
away
varied,
games
but
and stuff.
yeah, there's at least, and more often than not, you had a midweek game as well.
All
So
right. And then, anybody watching this, Scottish people are a different beast on the drink. They're just crazy. So you can imagine how much was being drunk. But then
yeah,
you just had like a mindset switch, like picking up the pieces on the Monday. You're just like, I can't do this anymore, didn't you? So you pretty
yeah. There
much
was a
knocked it on the
weekend.
head.
There was one day well, actually, there was over a couple of weeks, but we had an away trip to Ross County, which for anybody who doesn't know, it's miles away from here. So it's like a 3 hour bus journey up and back. And for us, it's always been a huge trip where everybody will bring food. We don't do it for any other game, but we bring like sandwiches and sweeties and crisps and juice
Just dishing
and
them
like
out.
it's just like I think one of my mates like pulled out a packet of Mr. Kipling cakes or something like that. I was like, cake? In fact, Finney pulled out a Swiss roll and a plastic knife. Swiss roll, anybody? Any Swiss roll? And he's standing,
While
you
the
know,
bus is moving.
while the bus is moving. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But this time we're like in Perth. Swiss roll? Anybody for Swiss roll? Um, but yeah, that's what those kind of days were like. And I went on that one on the program, and at that point I was calorie counting. So because I was drinking, I knew it was going to be an over
Hmm.
hit that day. But I took stuff with me, and I said no to sweets, and I said no to crisps, I said no to chocolate, and I said no to Swiss roll. I did all that stuff, but I was absolutely fucking smashed. Um, there's no other way to say it. The boys all, and that was the day that I'd sort of decided, or the day after that. It actually took me till about the Wednesday to really recover.
Hmm.
And I said to my missus about it, and she was like, "It's always the same." She went, "If you're at the football on a Saturday, the Campbell that leaves in the morning, the Campbell that comes back Saturday night is slightly different, but the Campbell on Sunday, Monday is totally different."
Hmm.
So it just makes, I'm already quite mental in the head anyway with depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. So compounding that with alcohol was never a good idea.
Hmm.
So it's not even so much about how it makes me feel when it's hangovers. It's not hangovers.
Yeah.
It's my head is in a really bad space a couple of
Hmm.
days after it. So at that point, I decided I'm just going to stop. And the boys all take the piss and say, "Oh, you got absolutely smashed and now you don't drink anymore because you made an ass of yourself."
Hmm.
Um, but the week before that, I'd been on the program and I was counting my calories. I was watching the stuff and I was logging my food diary. And every time I had a drink, I was logging a food diary. And my mindset was I had 2 cans in the supporters club. I had 2 cans on the way to the game. I had 2 bottles of beer in the pub. I had 2 cans on the way home for the game, and I had 2 cans in the unit after we finished. And I was like, "That's perfect. That's good. That's really clever of me. That's sensible. Two, 10
Fair
cans
enough.
done. Brilliant." And then I added it all up, and it was like 3,000 calories just in alcohol,
A lot of
and then I
men
was
and women as well, they don't want to admit it and put it in MyFitnessPal to actually see what's actually going on. Oh, it's just a glass of wine. Oh, it's just a few cans. But
exactly, yeah.
really.
You put it in, it's huge, and then
Mm.
that's always compounded with you have a decent breakfast, usually fatty and greasy breakfast, telling yourself you need to line your stomach for the day,
Then you got your Swiss rolls on the bus.
and then you get Swiss roll on the bus,
Then you got your takeaway when
um,
you get in half cut.
and then you had to come home and have a takeaway. And I think one day it was like 4,000 odd calories on my day when I was targeting. I think at that point we were targeting 2,200 or 2,000 or something.
Mm.
And the whole week was a miss because of that one day.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's just not worth missing my target for that one day.
Mm.
So that was a big factor in deciding just stopping it. And now I haven't had a drink, I think, in about 7 or 8 weeks.
Wow, massive change. Yeah.
That's not true. And it's not like I'm just turning into some massive teetotaler. There was a couple of times I've went and looked in the supermarket for a wee cider, because I like a wee cider when it's sunny and stuff
Mm.
like that. A wee glass with ice and a cider is
Yeah.
lovely.
Look.
And I'd finished the golf and was like, oh, we fancy a wee cider. And I was standing in Marks and Spencer's and just bought my food shopping for the week. And I was looking at the ciders and I was like, why? Why? I say 300 calories that one cider. That's going to hump me for the rest of the day. So, fuck it. I just went home. But then last weekend, went through a game in Edinburgh, but we didn't have enough tickets for a bus. So we went up in my car, 6 of us. Or 5 of us, sorry, and we went to this wee boozer after it. Sun was shining at the beer garden, sitting in the beer garden. It was brilliant. It was great. And one of my mates was ordered a cider. Somebody else ordered a Tennent's, and he looked at the Tennent's and he was like, "That Tennent's looks lovely." I mean, that does look lovely, by the way. It does look really good. And I'm on about my second Diet Cola by this point. And when the third guy went up to go and get a drink, I was like, "Go get me a Tennent's."
Get me one.
And he was like, okay. So Tenants came out and I took a massive, like, big gulp at the beginning and I was kind of like, that's not as refreshing as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then I had another big gulp and I was like, nah. So I had a couple of sips. By this point, there was about half a pint left. And I just handed it to my mate and went, yeah, you have that.
Looks better than it
And
was.
then we had to go and get petrol on the way home. And going home to get petrol, I was absolutely gasping for water. So I went and bought a litre bottle of water because I'd been drinking Diet Cola and all day, and I just felt like I'd had enough. And I really needed something cleansing and refreshing, and I went for water. Mental. But that's one of the things that Vicky did as well with the hypnotherapy, was hypnotise me to thinking that
Certain things
alcohol,
weren't enjoyable. Yeah.
so certain things weren't enjoyable. She did this thing where you like, what do you not like? So I told her what I don't like, and then she was starting to tell me that fatty, greasy foods were that. So now if I have fatty, greasy foods, I tend to, after that, I think, oh, I didn't enjoy that.
So that's fascinating, I find. Yeah, I've never been hypnotized before, but yeah, it's fascinating.
Oh, it's weird, but yeah, that helped me do this. And the only reason I needed the help doing it is because I'm such a fuss eater.
Yeah. And then let's finish with the biggest change, arguably, which I hope your previous boss never watches this, but I was like, this is the one thing that's going to hold you back in this program, from truly unlocking the best version of you. So if you want to give some context to what that is, if you want
to. Just, I was working in a place that just wasn't good for me, or it's not good for a lot of people, to be honest. Just the way that they work and the way that they try to do things, it's all a bit. I mean, I've worked in high pressure for a long time, and it was more than high pressure. It was just organized chaos, is the only way I can really describe it. Just fly by the seat of their pants all the time. It's really, really weird. So I at one point I was effectively in charge of all sales, all after sales, all operations, all installations, all customer services, everything for this department that I was running, and it was just absolutely full time, on the go, 100% all the time, and there was just no hiding from it. And because of the way that I am personally, I couldn't really switch off from it when I needed to switch off from it. So it was phone call, literally, not even joking. Get up in the morning, which I'm bad at doing, but force myself out of bed at that particular time in the morning. sometimes my phone was going before I'd even woken up. And I've got fitters on the phone moaning about this thing and that thing and the next thing. And yeah, just being, my department was just being let down from every other department in the company. And there was no support whatsoever. And I had a big tantrum one day and I was going to chuck it and I got up, made all these promises and all the rest of it. All the tantrum did was get me more money, which was good. But all it did was get me more money for a while longer. But nothing actually changed.
Yeah, from the outside looking in, it just felt like this place was just suffocating you. And like it was impossible for you to achieve what you've done in the program in that environment because it was so toxic and messing with your mental health, wasn't it? Every Monday was like notoriously dread day because you're back in that place again where you weren't happy with you. So.
Even Sundays became dread day. Like I began hating Sundays. My weekend consisted of going to the football the day that I went to the football. More often than not, I actually didn't want to go, which was weird because it's a passion and I love it. But I was like, I don't know if I can really be bothered. It seems like a bit of a chore going to the football a day. And then the day that I wasn't at the football, I would just be lying on the couch or try to do as minimal as possible.
Like literally
like, let's go do this, let's do that. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We're not going there. We're not doing this.
Took your soul away, literally. It's like didn't want to do anything.
Didn't want to do anything. And because the mornings were so hectic, I couldn't do anything in the morning. There was no chance to exercise in the morning. Effectively, you're still working at night because you're taking phone calls from people. But then I had a guy that would take some of that off for me from the sales side, who was a massive help. Without him, I wouldn't have seen it through. And Brian, who was a surveyor, would never have seen it through without him. And then I hired Alec as an installations manager. And once that wee team was in place, I started taking a bit of a backward step. And once I had that wee team in place, and I wasn't doing all the work, but I could still see all the problems, and I could still see us being not supported by other areas of business and being let down continuously, and the owners and the directors not seeing the problem, asking us what the problem is. We're telling them what the problem is, and they're saying, "No, that's not the problem." What? Yes, it is. And an argument, and then bang, proof 2 hours later. Like, there's all the proof. There's the problem. All right, aye. So that is the problem. Oh, all right, okay. Never have known that. I told you that's what the problem was. And then it is into the evening, and the whole week was just, there was no time. And it literally, like, May to, when did we start? February? May to February just disappeared. Like, I can't really tell you anything that happened in that space. And some major things happened, like my best mate's dad died, and I said to him, he messaged me and he had cancer, and I didn't see him. Like, I never saw John the whole time he had cancer. Or he had cancer for years, but the whole time that he was bad and he was in care in his house, I never went and seen him.
Because it just took over your life.
Just took over my life, and my mate, when he texted me to say that his dad died, I went, "Oh mate, that's terrible. Like, I'm really sorry." And we're like brothers. I was like, "I'll phone you later." I think it took 6 weeks or 4 weeks before we spoke next. No, couldn't have been as long as that. I think it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks in total before I actually then spoke to him again.
Had the headspace to even think about it.
Yeah, I'll phone you back later. And then bang, a whole week's gone past. I've not done it yet. And he proper fell out of me and stuff like that. And or was it he told me that his dad wasn't well? And that's what it was. His dad wasn't well, and he told me he had 6 weeks to live or something like that. And I went, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'll phone you the night." And then 2 weeks later, I still hadn't phoned them. And that 2 weeks had just disappeared. And he fell out with massive time, but didn't understand that it's because of where I was.
Yeah.
Which then was a bit of a bone of contention for me. It was like, nobody's seeing where I am. I need help. And that was a thing at that point as well. That was a realization point.
Yeah. And then you went back and forth for weeks, as you do. I went through some experience in my own business. Can't let go. I've invested all this time into this company. What a waste that'll be. But I need to make a change. took weeks, right, to make the decision, but then you
Yeah.
finally pulled the trigger. And then what's life like now? It's obviously challenging because you're in a new business, but what's the difference for you now in comparison?
I actually think, and sometimes when I'm out walking with the dogs, I'm overthinking. I think to myself, I actually did less work at the old place, you know. Um, but at the old place, for a while, I was working from home Wednesday and Friday because it was the best time to actually do work. I didn't get any work done in the office. People just wanted me all the time,
Hmm.
and I got nothing done. When I was at home, I wasn't there, so they couldn't come and talk to me. So I got work done, but I'm not doing that now. So I'm working the 5 days, and I'm working kind of 9 till 5, and I'm trying to build in some other stuff. And I think at first I bit off more than I could chew, but take that out of the mix. I am up every morning at a normal time. There's a routine there that I'd never had before. The routine was broken, and it would blah blah blah. I'm preparing food to take to work, and I never had that before. I would just get to work and try and figure it out.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I actually had a late night the night before, and yesterday I got up in the morning and just left without any prep, and it was a really difficult day. Just doing what I used to do, get up and leave,
Hmm.
and it's really hard. Whereas now with a new place, I'm prepping and I'm having time and I'm thinking, and you know, I take I'm I'm playing plenty of golf, and I'm playing football, and I'm playing badminton, and I'm having that time in the evening to do stuff, and
Hmm.
I'm generally speaking, I'm going home and I'm home. And that's it. Work's work and home's home. Whereas before it was never that. Whereas this is completely like that.
And as a
Um,
result of all of that, Campbell now being not the best version, we still got somewhere to go, but this new version of Campbell, what
yeah.
did you say before we press go? 1 and 2 sales, 308 grand or something you've
Yes.
made. It's
So
like,
I've done. Yeah. So since I started with this new company, they basically they basically told me that they couldn't justify or afford the wages that I was on, or that I was looking for, but they did really want me.
mhm.
So they said a bit of a hybrid role, work on a bit of growth, help us grow the business and grow the sales, but do some appointments at the same time and bring in some sales. So through bringing in some sales, I've sat 26 appointments, sold 14 of them for 308 grand, which in our industry, the average conversion is about 1 in 3.
Mm.
Um, for windows and doors right enough, but I'm selling big tick items like extensions and conservatories, which is probably neither 1 in 4, 1 in 5 average.
Mm.
So I'm doing 1 and 2.
There we
Aye,
go.
average order values kind of up there is what you would expect it to be, doing smaller things, bigger things. And yeah, I just generally speaking doing really quite well with it. Whereas I didn't realise I was doing well with it until yesterday. It was only last night I worked this out and realised that I was
Yeah.
I've been so busy trying to do 2 or 3 different roles effectively at once, doing a
Mm.
bit of sales, doing a bit of growth, doing a bit of management, not realising that actually I was doing a good job at the sales side.
Yeah. That's why it's important to take a step back and go, what's the numbers looking like? Oh, fuck no. Smashing
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Aye,
Right. Just to
relaxing a
summarize
bit.
all of this, then, any guy who's maybe in a similar position to you were struggling in a bit of a rut with the mental health, etc., what would your advice be if he's sitting on the fence and he wants help, but he's what happens if I fail? What happens if it doesn't work? As you know, that's what goes through your head. What would your advice be to that guy?
Nike, just do it.
I think someone else said that on the last one. Just do it.
There's a video of actually you can go on YouTube it right. There's a search on YouTube. Art Williams, just do it. Watch that video,
uh,
and I just do it.
yeah.
Just do it. Take the plunge. Leap of faith, as they would call it.
Mm.
Um, there's nothing you can do better than do better for yourself. Because at the end of the day, if you're on the fence and you're thinking, I don't know if I should or I shouldn't, you're always, particularly in business, you're always looking at ways to improve and get more and get better. And how can I achieve higher?
That
How can I
small
get more
percentage.
money?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
can I do this? How can I do that? You won't be able to do any of that if you're half as good as you should be.
Mm,
You won't be able to do any of that if your energy levels aren't there. You won't be able to do any of that if you're stressed. So if you want to be able to get to there, then you need to, if you want your business to get to there, you need to get to there first
yeah,
so that you can bring the business to it. That's what I would say.
I agree.
So if you're on the fence, just go for it.
All right. Perfect. I don't know how long that was, but that's what we tend to do. We just jam and talk for hours. So I'll try and snip that so it's a bit more time efficient, maybe. I don't know. See what the length was. But anyway, appreciate your time, mate. And yeah, we'll talk about the next part of the journey after this. All right.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Catch you later.